Guys, take a look at this bike. This is a BMW GS 850. Kind of an interesting little thing right there. Look at that bike. That's pretty awesome. It's really big, and the guy said it was only like 500 pounds, which is pretty wild. So this actually has a key fob that I put in my pocket, and the on button is kind of hidden back there. You have to pull in the clutch. Ooh, wow, that's louder than I thought it was going to be. I love that display. Check it out. Has the RPM, and wow, you can see everything really good. That's probably one of the best displays that I've ever seen on any bike. That's awesome. All right, so as far as the ergonomics, ooh, look at that. I love that. My knees fit right in here. And as a matter of fact, I could be a little bit taller. So I'm actually 6'4", and this is kind of interesting with the BMW. It seems like with all the mirrors, they're not really like bowed out to where you can see a whole lot. It almost seems like, if you actually look, it almost looks like a regular mirror where it's not like convex, which kind of drives me crazy. It seems like they should be kind of out more. All right, so we're going to take this for a little test drive. We're going to go around the highway and on some city streets. All right, so let's try it out. Ooh, I like this. Awesome ergonomics. Whoa. The steering is kind of wild. All right, so let's. All right, I got to get used to this bike. It's geared really low. I'm already in third gear. Fourth gear. Has your typical BMW blinkers. Just one control on the left side. The shifter is really easy to shift. I love the pegs and the position. It's slightly forward, but a really neutral position. Really comfortable. He said this is one of their best sellers, and they had a hard time keeping them in stock. Wow. It feels kind of like a dirt bike, like a big dirt bike. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Really smooth. It really absorbs all the bumps. I'm actually surprised the suspension's pretty good on this. You can feel the road, but it's not like really crazy. I really like this bike. I think this is one of my favorites already. There's an interesting kind of a grumble to it. This one actually didn't have the some of their engines are kind of like flopped over where the engine's kind of sticking out. This one's more of an upright position. Really super stable in the corners. I feel really confident, probably more confident than a lot of bikes, which is pretty wild. You can feel a little bit of the road kind of bouncing around a little bit, but wow, I really like this bike. I think he said these were only like $16,000 or something for a brand new one. This is a really awesome bike. Wow, this might be my next bike. I really like this bike. I'd like to see, let's see, as far as the friction zone, not really crazy, like a crazy friction zone that you'd see on some bikes. I'd say like your normal friction zone, maybe about an inch and a half. All right, let's see what this baby can do on the highway. You know, some of these kind of sport adventure bikes are a little bit buzzy in the handlebars. A lot of times it comes down to kind of the wow. So I'm going 60. Yeah, I'm in top gear. I know why they have the RPM. Because you can't really tell what gear you're in when you're on the highway. There's so much wind, and it completely drowns out the noise of the bike. Wow. I'm in top gear. 4,000 RPM in top gear. I'm going 70. Pretty confident for 70. All right, let's see how it does on these bumps right here. Not too bad. I was kind of hoping I had one more gear. You got to kind of really wind it out if you do a lot of highway driving. But not too bad on the highway. As a matter of fact, I had some really strong bumps right at the end that a lot of my bikes have been struggling with, which is kind of interesting. See if I can get over here. Oh. Slow speed, like really super slow speed, pretty good, not too bad. For like a really super slow speed stability, I'd say better than most. Especially, I think this kind of has a, whoa. This is a really skinny front tire, so I'm actually surprised that it has that good a slow speed stability. Man, that throttle. I was like turning the wheel and the throttle just kind of took off. Which is kind of wild. I found that on some bikes the throttle can be kind of tricky. Now, let me see if I'm in gear. So it has a tiny little windscreen. Look at that tiny little windscreen. Just enough to keep a lot of the pressure off my chest, it seemed like. I had a lot of wind hitting my helmet when I was on the highway. So geared really super low. Like you could really take this in the dirt and go really slow, like over a bunch of rocks and gravel and stuff. Seems like it's really geared for off-road. Really stable on the streets though. That's some pretty good power too. Not really, I'd say almost on the edge of not really scary power like some bikes have, but definitely plenty of power. Probably not enough power to really lift up the front end, I'd say, unless you really pop the clutch or something like that. But the thing that really surprised me on this bike is the suspension is really nice, really absorbs a lot of the bumps, and the stability is kind of surprising. This is a pretty amazing bike, actually. The only thing I don't like about this bike is the yellow color. It's funny, every time I see like a yellow vehicle for sale, I'm like, all right, deduct $500 for yellow. Because yellow is kind of a hard sell, I'd say. But it doesn't look bad on this one. But as far as like the resale value, yeah, I probably wouldn't do a yellow bike. Although this one's kind of grown on me. The yellow and the black looks pretty awesome together. Let's see, around these corners. Wow. Nice, really stable. It does have quite a bit of vibration when you're taking off, almost like a grumble, kind of like a Harley Cruiser or something, which is kind of surprising. But it kind of has like a rough vibration taking off. Look at that, you can actually go all the way up to 8,500 before you redline it. I absolutely love that display. That is pretty amazing. It has the temperature, yes, it is 91 degrees out. It is pretty hot. Let's see. Pretty big friction zone, I'd say. Maybe 2 inches. It has just enough power. You can really give it all the throttle, 100% of the throttle, and you don't have to worry about lifting up the front end, which is kind of nice. But it has plenty of pep to get up and go. This would be a great all-around bike, even for a beginner, I would think. Really nice and stable. Oh, I love this bike. This is probably one of the funnest bikes that I've ever been on. And this is probably I'd say this is probably the #1 funnest bike that actually fits me. So if you actually look at my stance, my knees are slightly bent. So you'd have to be pretty big on this bike. I don't think you'd want to be much smaller than like 6 foot. But oh, this bike is awesome. Absolutely love this bike. I'm going to give you a little tour of BMW of Denver. This place is really awesome. This is one of the best places that I've ever been as far as test drives. A lot of them, you know, you have to be escorted on some of your test drives, and then, you know, some of them you're limited to a certain number of bikes. This one's like, just take the bike and bring it back and we'll give you another one. Just line them up. It's pretty awesome. No sales pressure at all in this one. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Wow. This is a bike I would definitely consider buying. For sure, for sure. It's actually pretty surprising. I'm actually really surprised on this bike. Let's see. Wow. This is one of those bikes that, let me see the power buttons up here, where you don't even want to get off. That's one of the first bikes I've been on where you just want to keep driving it and driving it. That's a pretty awesome bike. All right, guys, that is the BMW GS 850. Awesome motorcycle. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.